need is to turn their inmates into masters of manipulative strategies. Lolita by Vladimir Nabokov. Vladimir Nabokov is that one friend who can't keep his fantasies to himself, often telling you about the wet dreams he had last night and how he's dying to experience some sick pleasures. Naturally, you'd want to keep your ears covered the entire time, but he tells such a good story that you can't help but listen to him. That's what you get from Nabokov's book, Lolita. The book drops readers into the mind of a character named Humbert Humber, a seriously twisted guy obsessed with a 12-year-old girl named Dolores Hayes, aka Lolita. It's like watching a train wreck in slow motion because you know that Humbert's moral compass is bound to crash and burn. Imagine telling your family that you're reading a book about a guy who sees a child as a seductive nymph he can't resist. It may be a literary masterpiece in terms of its writing and narrative, but you can't accept the twisted ideas surrounding a story about a grown man in love with a girl barely in her teens. But Nabokov's writing isn't just awkwardly flirting with pedophilia, it's also about how he is like a tragic clown who keeps tripping over his own bad decisions, and you find yourself oddly rooting for this bumbling mess. Throughout that time, you get a sneak preview into the darkest corners of his mind as he's trying to justify his obsession. The writer's genius lies in how he makes you squirm with discomfort while you marvel at his literary gifts. It makes you admire something you shouldn't be admiring, and that can be dangerous to a society that wants its kids to be kids, instead of sex symbols. It's like you're introducing porn to a monk, potentially affecting his moral compass forever. Brave New World. Let's say you live in a world where everyone is happy, a little too happy. That's what you get in a book where everyone is forced to stay in line with little to no hope of getting out of that bubble. Aldous Huxley's book, Brave New World, describes a society where people in this new world were forced to get hooked on a literal happy pill called soma, which made them happy, suppressing deep emotions. It's also a world where society has an entire assembly line churning babies out like designer shoes. You get assigned to a caste, like it's a Hogwarts sorting hat ceremony. The government even controls your love life. It's like they control your Tinder account, swiping left until they see a person who would match you, forcing you to marry them. Put yourself in a world where society runs on consumerism, instant gratification, and tech control. Sound familiar? It's like our lives, but with extra drama. We've got smartphones and social media keeping us perpetually distracted, just like the novel's characters. Algorithms tell us what to think and feel, kind of like the government's puppet show in the book. It's like living in a dystopian sitcom where the punchline is our own life. Governments worldwide looked at this book and said, this Huxley guy might be onto something. Let's not give anyone any ideas. It's like they're worried we might trade freedom for the convenience that people get in Brave New World. Naturally, it found its place in the forbidden library of taboo books. But from how things are going, Brave New World seems more of a cautionary tale that's already predicted the future for us. Who knows what Elon's Neuralink will do to our brains one day? Animal Farm. George Orwell's Animal Farm puts you in an Old MacDonald Had a Farm nursery rhyme that gets darker. The animals on this farm had enough of humans bossing them around, eventually kicking them out, and started running things themselves. No humans, no problems, right? That sounds like a great place for Porky and his pals to live in, but Orwell's book swiped at society through his fluffy tale of barnyard politics. The story revolves around how the pigs at the farm eventually took power, becoming the new head hogs. So from telling the chickens and everyone else that all animals are equal, these oinkers thought that they were better than everyone else, taking the place of the humans as the new oppressors. They turned the farm into a pig pen of oppression and inequality. In other words, Orwell was telling a story about how revolutions that try to give power back to the people will only lead to new dictators rising. The book is a satire that pokes fun at power-hungry leaders who promise equality but decide that they deserve more than everyone else. Governments who saw what Orwell was trying to do felt that Animal Farm was not just airing their dirty laundry, but also throwing it out for everyone, fearing it might inspire people to start looking at their leaders as less noble steeds and more like pigs. If you think that you have barnyard animals or pets seemingly plotting your downfall,